Late last night, there was a shooting at the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks, California. Um, the way it goes down is that this person, 28-year-old individual who was a veteran, went into the bar where there were 200 patrons and shot up these people, fired 30 shots, and threw smoke bombs. Um, and now they've been able to confirm that he's deceased, and they've told us a little bit about his past. He was living with his mother, and almost immediately, people were talking about gun control, and we also found out the number of the victims. There were 11, there were 12 in total. 11 were people that were just there, and then one was a officer who was responding to the situation. But there were people who started mentioning the fact that a number of individuals who attended this event were, happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, had the same thing happen last year when they were present for the Las Vegas shooting, the still deadliest mass shooting by a lone gunman in American history. So, as far as gun control is concerned, I'm getting flashbacks of San Bernardino, where when that happened, I was telling myself, this stuff seems kind of useless because the guy, in this instance, legally purchased a weapon. Um, and at that time, when that San Bernardino one happened, I'd become convinced we can't change any of this with these laws. But I'd rather people talk more about this case as it pertains to the information when it comes out, because this is one of the few times where I really wish people also would consider the psychological state of the shooter. Now, obviously, whenever one of these happens, we talk about how insane the person was who did it. But this was someone who was a veteran with, I guess, suspected PTSD. And it really underscores the high profile, or rather high number and low profile of veterans who suffer in the United States after coming back from these military conflicts. I mean, let's not forget 27% of all homeless people are veterans. So this is not, an isolated person who just had a bad experience. That doesn't mean they're all going to do this, obviously, but it also tells us what about these conflicts is leading people who were normal before they went over there to become these individuals that have issues such as this. And whenever you have one bad example, it usually leads people to assume the other ones are horrible as well, which is not the case. And I think most people will say that this is not congruent of everyone with PTSD. But the other part is when we had I apologize for all the does and ums and all that, but there was a shooting at this Madden tournament, if you remember, a while back. And I remember distinctively I had said this was part of why I have a thing about going to events with large numbers of people or just with groups of people. And there was an individual who, in response, wrote, "Well, just because mass shootings, there's no reason to not leave your house because of mass shootings." When the whole point of me saying what I was saying was that these are people who are normal, and go to these events and have an expectation of just coming out, walking away, whatever. You go to most things, you leave out of most things, and they get caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it seems that the larger number of people that go to an event, the higher the chances are of something like this happening. So going back to that Madden tournament, I'm sure the two people who were shot, or rather, how many was it? The ones that were on camera. I'm sure when they were shot, they didn't, before that day, they didn't think they were going to be breathing their last breaths of air. Just as over here too, I'm sure the 11 people and that officer who were murdered by this gunman didn't think they were going to be meeting their final hours just going to this event. So the bottom line is, no one is saying don't take any risk, but when there's patterns about things happening over and over again, take notice of it. Um, and to close out, I really want to get kind of freaked out about the Vegas shooting, individuals, the people who were there and saw that, being here for this one. Can you imagine the sense of doom paranoia that would put on somebody to be present at the site of two mass shootings a year apart? Like, no matter what you do, you just can't escape this particular thing from happening over and over again. So it's a disgusting event. Um, it challenges my views on gun control, but I want to again know the entire facts of this case before, making any views on what's the difference or if I've altered my perspective at all. And I think I'm trying to come at this as objectionably as I can. So thank you.